And verse 48 beginning, we see the wicked servant. But if that evil servant shall say in his heart, My Lord delayeth his coming. And how easy it is for us to fall into that same attitude, because it was over 2,000 years ago that Christ was here. And for 2,000 years, time has kept going. The world has kept turning. Everything has been just like it was. 2,000 years. Do you really think the chances are that great they'll come back tomorrow? Probably not. But He could. He might. And those chances are just as good that He'll come back tomorrow as Him coming back in another 100 years. We don't know. And we need to be careful not to fall into that trap, because it's so easy to take for granted that we will wake up in the morning. James chapter 4 and verse 13 beginning. Here James tells us, Go to now, ye that say today or tomorrow we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. Be careful, those of you who take for granted the promise of tomorrow. Whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow. What is your life? It is even as a vapor that appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away. At the Southwest Lectureship about a month ago, somebody made a very graphic image here. This vapor. You think a very cold winter day. We don't have very many of those down here, but imagine really hard, a cold winter day. And you walk outside, and you can see the steam from your breath, and just as quickly as it's there, it's gone. That is our life in the view of eternity. That is our life. Really, it is. It doesn't take very long. Look back upon your own life. It seems like just yesterday that I was in high school. It seems like just yesterday that my son was born. He's almost 3 years old now. And our life will go by that quick. And so we need to be careful not to take for granted tomorrow. Verse 15, he says, For you ought to say, If the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. Not only is the Lord willing that time should continue, but if the Lord wills that we should do this, do we keep that in mind, in view with the things that we do in our daily life? Is this action going to be pleasing to God? Am I going to be furthering my usefulness in the kingdom by doing this? Is it going to affect my usefulness in the kingdom at all? Or is this action going to hurt the cause of Christ? If the Lord wills. What is the Lord's will in our life? We need to think of this with every action we take. But now you rejoice in your boasting. All such rejoicing is evil. And it's so easy for us to rejoice in our boasting, to get this sort of prideful attitude. I've got an 1,800 square foot house, a Chevy truck, glad it's not a Ford. I've got a nice suit that I'm wearing. I've got all kinds of power under my hand. Look at me. Where did it all come from? It came from God. And He can take it away just as fast. We need to be careful not to trust in our own power and our own wealth. Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. Not just to him that knows not to sin, but to him that knows to do good. Are you that faithful and wise servant that is watchful, that the Lord will come back and find not just not doing the things that are evil, but will find doing the work of the kingdom? In the following chapter, Matthew chapter 25, verses 24 through 30, here we find the one-talent servant. And we're all pretty familiar with this passage. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew that you were a hard man, requiring where you have not, reaping where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not strawed, and I was afraid. And I went and I hid your talent in the earth, and lo, here you have it. You have back what is yours. I've been a good Christian. I've gone to church every Sunday. I've contributed of my salary every week. No, I haven't really been that active in teaching the gospel. But I've been good. I was afraid to use my talents, so I hid them. And his Lord answered and said unto him, You wicked and slothful servant, you weren't doing the work of the kingdom. You knew that I reap where I have not sowed, and gather where I have not strawed. You knew that I expected you to be working. So you should have at least, therefore, have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received my own with usury, with interest. You could have at least put it in some kind of a savings account so I could have gotten 2% interest on it. You could have at least been passing out Searching for Truth DVDs. Doing something, doing anything. Take therefore that talent from him and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. For unto every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast you, the unprofitable servant, into outer darkness, where there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. We need to be careful we are not that wicked and slothful servant that is not doing the work of the kingdom, that is not being watchful and vigilant, being prepared